Hi, I'm James Shillinglaw, and I'm here with a familiar face who's been on with us a number of times, maybe not during the COVID era, but Roger Dow, who's president and CEO of the U.S. Travel Association. And we're here because U.S. Travel and many of 75 other travel companies have just launched a new campaign to start spurring interest in travel by Americans again. It's called Let's Go There, and we're going to talk to Roger all about it and more on Insider Travel Report. Now, Roger, how are you and where are you?
I'm really well. I'm where I live in St. Petersburg, Florida. I commute back and forth to DC. So I've been kind of stuck here since March, when I think I left DC March the 19th, a couple days after we met with the president on March 17th. And I've been back once or twice, but now they want to quarantine people like me from Florida going back to DC. So it makes it a little difficult.
You're the heart of the beast. COVID is now all over Florida, right? But it's although I tell you that was a few weeks ago, and I guess I think I've told you that I had COVID and I got it in Florida, but that was back in June. So I recovered, as you can see, but it is a tough disease. There's no joking about it. But it is, these quarantines are really becoming a lot more detrimental, and we'll talk maybe a little bit about that, to domestic travel, which was the one that everyone thought people would be focusing on, right?
Yeah, James, I remember you and I were together one of the times more recently was at the National Press Club, and we were announcing that travel had had 10 years of the best growth ever, every single month, and we're looking forward to the biggest year ever in travel. Little did you or I know, a month later, everything would come down.
I know it was kind of, I remember, and we had heard of COVID, but we just didn't know what was going to happen. So I remember that very well, where we were at the National Press Club talking about that. Now let's talk specifically now, because now you've had to go and start this campaign to get Americans to start thinking about travel, even if it's not quite ready for them yet, travel's ready for them, but they may not be ready. Can you tell us about this new campaign, Let's Go There, and what its goal is?
Sure. Let's Go There campaign includes right now 75 companies and travel organizations, destinations working together, and it's going to grow even bigger. And the whole concept is talking about people planning and thinking about travel. People have been so cooped up, and no one's talking about travel, and we need to get them thinking about planning their next trip. And we want to be very careful not to be tone deaf and have people say, why are you telling me travel when there still potentially is COVID out there? Our research shows that a little over half the people want to travel now. About 25% are going to wait quite a while, and there's that middle group. So we're talking to those who want to travel now and that middle group that are thinking about it.
No, that's great. And in fact, my next question was going to be, travel companies for the past few months have been like, and even travel advisors have been like, when's the right time to start marketing to my customers, to my clients? Is it too early? Is it too, And your survey, you can talk a little bit about it, found that this is probably starting to be the right time when you can get Americans ready to travel. Tell us about that survey you did with, I think it was Michelle Gillen, who led this so that you could then launch this campaign.
Yeah, Michelle Gillen is, I'll make it easy, she has a longer name for her company, but is a happiness expert. And she looks at people's attitudes and does research on what makes people happy. And so she ran a research project for the industry. She talked to about 400 or 500 people and asked them, does planning travel, thinking about travel, make them happy? And it turned out that well over 90%, in fact, 95% said, when I plan about travel, when I think about travel, it makes me happy. Michelle said, when I see numbers over 75, that's important. So she said, the fact that so many people said that thinking about the planning process about travel adds to their happiness and their mental well-being. And that's a significant thing, I think.
Yeah, well, I tell you, we all need a happiness consultant.
We do.
Especially in these days, and I'm glad you found one that verified that people are looking for this. Now, you did say that the survey found that there are a percentage of Americans who are ready to start booking right now, even though, as we discussed, there are still some barriers within the U.S., like state quarantines and local quarantines to overcome. So you found, what was the percentage? It was like 25% of people would start booking.
No, 52%
52.
said they're ready to
better.
travel in the next couple of months. And there's another 25% said they're thinking about it if they have the right information that it is safe.
No, I reversed it there. 52% is a much better figure who really want to start booking now. So all you travel advisors out there, go get those 52% and start getting them on the road. There are going to be barriers, and hopefully those will come down soon. But there's a lot of places you can go in this country, and even a few places abroad. But we'll see what happens now. Now, what are some of the travel companies, because you do have quite the roster supporting this campaign, and what have they contributed to it? For example, I understand both Disney and Marriott are big supporters, and there's two top executives from those companies that are co-chairs of this Let's Go There campaign.
Right, and Disney and Marriott have done a great job, but we've got the three big airlines, American, United, and Delta. Delta's been very engaged with us. The hotel companies, Marriott, Hilton, Hyatt, Lowe's, all involved, and others coming on. You've got American Express, Chase from a payment system, Sabre, groups like that, Expedia, very involved, and a lot of destinations. So many are going to use it on their own, but Visit California has been very engaged. South Dakota, places, different cities, New York City, NYC and Company, all involved. And that list is growing right now. We just launched this week, and many more people are going to come on board and customize the materials for themselves.
Now, what are those, in terms of supporting it, what does that mean? Do they give money in kind? Are they lending their services? How are they supporting this effort?
Well, two things. Money is very important. You can't communicate without money. So at the top level, groups are putting in $500,000 each. And we've got many of those organizations. But more important is, we did this once before, James, after September 11th. And it's interesting, you and I are speaking on September 11th. But the issue is, the campaign was Go USA. And we found that it got people moving again. And we thought it was so important to have the resources to help, but we're very different now than we were then. The social media it wasn't even prevalent then, so we've got great capability. The owned media, the programs like the frequency programs, the Bonvoy program, Hilton Honors, Advantage, Delta's program, all have phenomenal reach in tens of millions of people, the states and cities. So we're much more advanced, and so a big part of this campaign, in addition to what you and I are doing, is talking to the media, is for the various companies and destinations to take the materials and put them out on their own. And we're seeing some very creative things. Philadelphia was one of the first cities to launch and use the Let's Go There logo and campaign, and many others are following right now.
No, that's great, and it's amazing. It's great that you've got everybody to back it, but it's such a crucial time, as it was on 9/11, as you correctly mentioned. We are speaking today on 9/11, and that was many, many years ago. And in fact, I think I probably interviewed you after all 9/11, talking about the new campaign back then. We've been around a while. I don't know.
Yeah.
Now, is this campaign really purely to support domestic travel or any travel by Americans? And for that matter, are you going to use elements of this campaign eventually when you restart marketing to international visitors?
The way we designed the campaign was Let's Go There Now, designed at domestic leisure, but there's a component that will be rolled in called Let's Meet Now, or Let's Meet There, and Let's Travel There will be international. We're keeping Brand USA very much in the loop on what we're doing. We're actually took their landing page and all their assets there and modified it. So when you go on this site to the landing page, it'll take you right to any destination you want, tell you what's going on with COVID, where there are quarantines, what the rules are for being there. And then it can take you right to, let's say, South Dakota, and they can tell you all the great things to do in South Dakota, or offers that California has, or special offers that one of the airlines or hotel companies have. So it's going to modify and morph as time goes, as those various areas open up for travel.
Well, actually, that's a great resource. I know I've been looking for. United Airlines did something like this just a week ago or so, and I don't know how good it is. I haven't tried it yet, but if just to keep track of all the quarantines and the different rules and regulations between states and localities. And so if you have that, that's great.
Yeah, I had someone ask me just recently, they said, I'm going to take a road trip from California to Texas. If I go through this state, will I be stopped and quarantined? They had no idea what was going on. And so I think it's very important for people to have up-to-date knowledge from the specific locations themselves.
Now, what are the elements of this new campaign in terms of the media? What media, for example, is being used? We had posted the video. It's a great video of the campaign. And how are you distributing it?
It's a combination of paid media, earned media, public relations, talking to the media, and, as I say, owned media. So people will be using it on their own sites. But you'll be able to see it next Monday, the 2 Monday Night Football games. You'll see it on Monday Night Football. You see it on iHeartRadio. You see it on many, many locations, the Cooking Channel even, places like that. So it's a pretty pervasive group of media and growing. And we're trying to get where eyeballs are, where likely travelers are watching.
Well, I have to tell you, since the crisis, since for a while there were no sports. Now there are too many sports. It's like we have all 5 or 6 sports on at once. So I'll be watching on Monday night, but I'm also be watching on the Food Network or the cooking channels, as you mentioned, because I started watching more Food Network now. I don't know why. It was something to watch instead of sports. But it's amazing how many people are watching those channels, and hopefully that message will get out when they see it.
You know, it's been a boon for all those channels, as you say. It's also it's changed how they launch movies. I mean, the go right directly to home in the movie business is totally something that's changed. They were always thinking of doing that, but COVID made it where the studios could actually go directly to your home.
No, absolutely that, and combined with Netflix too, it's just it's been an amazing transformation. But we want people to get out of their homes and their apartments, and whatever, and start traveling and not just watching, trying to figure out what Netflix movie to watch. But we'll see. Now, how are you going to track the results of the Let's Go There campaign? What do you kind of hope for and expect?
What we're looking for is an increase in booking activity. So we've got. We do a lot of research. We combine about 7 or 8 research groups, everything from STR to Longwoods to Destination Analytics. And so we'll look at booking activity change. One of the most important things before we did this was for the airlines to drop their change fees. And that was very important because a lot of people were reticent to book an airline flight for fear things may not have changed or their situation may have changed and they'd get charged a large amount. So it was very important to have the airlines change that non-booking fee because that will spur more activity. So we're just going to watch bookings. We have our finger on the pulse from Sabre and everybody, Adara. We know who's booking and when booking changes and when sentiment changes. We track sentiment every single week. In fact, we were going to launch a campaign in July. We held off because of the post-Memorial Day spikes. Then we're going to launch it mid-August because we said it'll save the summer. And again, we didn't feel it was quite the right time. Right. So then when we saw sentiment start going up pre-Labor Day and continuing to go up, we said, okay, now's the time to go. So that's why we launched this past week.
Yeah, it's a tricky business. You've had that campaign probably ready to go, as you mentioned, all summer long, but you just had to find the right time, and hopefully this will be the right time. I think the biggest issue here right now is while the infections may be going up, I don't see as many deaths on a rate basis. So that's encouraging news. And now we're hearing talk about the vaccines and whether they'll be out there pretty soon. But I don't think that's the palate of everybody. Really, it really to get people on the road. I think people are really a lot of people have pent up demand and really want to be there and want to travel. They just have to get in a way give themselves permission to travel, right?
And that's exactly what this campaign does, is give people permission to travel. The first thing we did back in May is we pulled the whole industry together and with medical experts and CDC and put together health and safety guidance because we had to make sure that the industry was a safe place. So now you've got Safe Stay by the hotel industry and Safe Serve by the restaurant industry and what the airlines are doing. I was speaking to Ed Bastian, who's CEO of Delta, and Ed was saying to me, he said, people wonder the safety of a plane. He said, if planes weren't safe, then why aren't my flight attendants getting sick? He said, when we look at flight attendants, he said, their incidence of COVID is like minuscule compared to the rest of the populace. And he said, they're on flights 4 and 5 times a day. And he explained to me the HEPA filters that they have. He said, our plane circulates air every minute or two, and the HEPA filters are the same they use in hospital operating rooms. A plane is much safer than being in the grocery store.
No, absolutely. And I have flown during this crisis, and I felt perfectly safe. And in fact, one of the sad positives of this is that there was nobody else on the flight. So, that's now we are seeing more people get on flights, but certain like Delta, for example, is not selling middle seats, which is a great move, at least till the end of the year. And I think Southwest and even JetBlue are all following that policy. But I think what you mentioned is that it is true that the air in the cabin is really cleansed. And as you said, the flight attendants seem to be okay, and nobody seems to be objecting. So that's good news, and it means you can get on a plane again to go to your destination.
The hotels are doing a great job with touchless. We've got the technology today. I mean, you can check in and out of a hotel, go to your room without ever even touching a human being. And hotels are putting little seals on doors saying no one has been in this room since it was sanitized. Theme parks, Disney, Universal are doing a phenomenal job of spacing and getting people through the parks in a very health and safe manner.
No, absolutely. And in fact, I wish someone would do a study of all the theme parks down in Orlando of how they've dealt with this crisis, because we don't hear anything about, everybody seems to be operating fine. It's at reduced capacity. They're doing all the right things with masks and social distancing. And so far, I haven't heard a word about any kind of, outbreak that was due to people going to Disney or to Universal or to SeaWorld.
When we put together the health and safety guidelines and the guidances, Disney was very involved. Their chief medical officer, along with epidemiologists and people that we've had working on it from CDC. So no, they right from the get-go, the theme parks have taken a very aggressive role on making sure that the parks are safe and they have distancing and touchless and things like that.
Well, let's give you a last question here, since your alarm just went off. So I guess
okay.
It's like the bell. I got to do it. Now, how can U.S. travel advisors kind of use this new campaign to promote travel to their own clients, and where can they go to find out more about it?
I think if they go on the Let's Go There website, there's a Let's Go There website, and they can see all the tools. There's a toolbox to use. And the main thing, as I say, is customizing it and getting the word out, using travel advisors. Anyone who wants to use the campaign is welcome to the materials. The more people we have talking about it, the better.
Fantastic. And again, I believe that's letsgothere.travel.
You got it.
Because .com goes somewhere else, but that's another story. But .travel is where you should go. Now, Roger, it's great to interview. I believe this must be our first Zoom interview, but we'll have to mark this occasion. I don't know.
Yeah, we want to get rid of the Zoom interview. I'd much rather be with you face-to-face, James.
Me too, Roger. And hopefully our next interview will be live in Washington, as usual, or at an industry event somewhere. Congratulations on the new campaign. Let's hope it really spurs more people to start thinking about travel. Hey, some of them, they still can't go to work, and they can work from home, and their kids are at home, and they now can go on vacation with their kids, and the kids can get schooled while they're on vacation. I don't know. I think there's some good points to this. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, as the campaign says, when you're ready, we'll be ready.
Absolutely. Roger, again, great to see you, and thank you for spending the time with us.
Thanks, James. See you soon.
I'm James Shillinglaw, and this is Insider Travel Report.